So I read The Only Good Indians, and I don't know how I feel about it, because it's like, I didn't give it the highest score. I gave it a 3.5, which I still think is really good. Everything I heard of the hype of it last year, I thought it was actually going to be like really good, but it had some aspects that I really enjoyed, and we're going to get into that a little bit. The story starts off with a man named Ricky. Now, Ricky is a Native American, and he is traveling across Utah, and he's working for about 2 weeks to get enough money to go to a different state. What happens is he finds a job, and as soon as he gets his first paycheck, he says he's just gonna dip. One night he goes to the bar. It's like super busy, so he goes outside, and then like this elk goes mad and starts destroying a bunch of vehicles out there. So of course, there's a bunch of guys out there that see it, and he's the only one around the vehicles, and all the vehicles are going off. They assume it's him, and they chase after him. What happens is Ricky actually ends up getting killed. Now, a lot of people think it was because of them, but it wasn't actually. It was because of an elk. Then we get to this man named Lewis, and Lewis actually tells us a story. He actually tells someone in the book what happened to him in the past, because he's starting seeing like weird things about like this elk pelt. And he explains to her that him and his 3 buddies all went out past, I think he called it the Elders land. I'm sorry if I'm not correct about that, but they go out there and they are hunting elk, and they kill a bunch of elk, and Lewis shoots one that isn't dead yet, and then they shoot him again, and then they realize there was a calf, this elk was pregnant with a calf, and I guess Lewis buries this calf, and then they skin the elk that they killed, and so on and so forth. And he's explaining this story. He's talking about how somehow he thinks like this elk is like haunting them. So it was such a really interesting premise, and what's going on is there's a lot of things in this book that is like freaking Lewis out, and Lewis ends up assuming it's this girl who he works with or his girlfriend. And let's just say bad things happen to good old Lewis, and the book doesn't stop, but it ends about halfway through the book with Lewis and Ricky. And then you have Gabe and Cassie are the last 2. And you actually learn more about those 2, and they are mourning about what happened to their 2 friends, their 2 childhood friends that left the res and everything. And these 2 have still stayed on the res. They claim that, once you leave the res, you will die. They were talking about how Lewis died trying to come back to the res, and Ricky died trying to leave the res. And they never tried to connect 2 and 2 together of why. They just assumed certain things happened of why they died. And I thought that was a pretty interesting concept, because, to me, like, if I was in their spots, I would also assume the same things, like something might have happened. You're not going to think of, like, the most extreme thing. And I liked a lot of this, but I felt like the thriller, the horror part of this wasn't that good. And I hate to say that, because there were some parts where I was like, oh, okay, this is kind of creepy. But it never really gave me like that really creepy feeling while I was reading it. And that's what kind of upset me, because I was really looking forward to reading this book. What happens is you actually there's like an elk woman, like I said, a woman's body, but with like an elk's head. She is the one that is like killing people. Well, killing these 4 men, because these are the ones that killed her and killed her calf while she was pregnant with this calf. And now she's like seeking revenge. So it's like a revenge tale, but like a thriller as well. I like the premise of that. I didn't really think too much about it at first. I was like, all right, what is going to happen? Because when you get into it, when Ricky dies, you don't really know what's really going on. You just know he got killed. And then when you meet Lewis, it's a whole different thing, because you actually get to meet a lot of stuff with Lewis, and it's more of like a mind game. And then you figure out like the elk head woman, that's what they were calling her in the book. She is like doing things to manipulate ways of how all 4 of these guys are going to die. I liked most of it. I feel like my only complaint about this book is I just didn't like the ending too much. Like the last 50 pages of this book, I just wasn't too satisfied with. I felt like if it stopped about 260 pages, I feel like it would have been fine. This is a 300-page book, but I just felt like the last little part wasn't like amazing. When I was reading this book, I was just like, oh man, is it done yet? Which I felt bad because like I don't like that feeling with books. But like I said, I gave it a 3.5 out of 5 stars, which still doesn't mean it's a bad book. It's just a book that, would I read it again? No. But yet again, it might not be for me. I'm the type that really likes slasher, gory stuff. Obviously, I'm wearing a Michael Myers shirt. But I like those kind of books that are just like really like violent. This wasn't like violent, it was more of psychological thriller. And I think that might be something I don't enjoy because I read American Psycho as well, and it's a lot like that. So I think that's where I've been feeling with these books in general. But these are books I just wanted to read. If you guys made it to the end of the video, I do appreciate it. Make sure you check out all my socials down below. Check out my book. Leave a review if you do. I would really appreciate it. It goes a long ways. And if you guys are self-pub authors and you want me to review your book, I usually read one self-pub book a month. DM me on Instagram. I would really appreciate it. Add me on Goodreads. I want to see what you guys are reading because that's the most important thing. And of course, last but not least, make sure you guys stay safe, stay hungry, and tell someone you love them. I'll see you guys in the next video. See ya.